Also, another note, we killed I guess the last Orokin. Well, we don't know. There's still this worm living, right? This worm queen. So maybe not, but we killed Ballas finally. That old bitch. Yeah, but he was basically living in his delusion, in his narcissistic delusion. That he's right in everything and everyone else is just wronging him. And the world just needs to understand that he's right. Then finally everything will fall into place. But it's obviously a projection and delusion, which many villains actually have. And by the way, I read a lot into this. This all comes from... Narcissists are actually the most hurt people. Not the most hurt, but the most weak people they are. Because they try so hard to keep this facade up of them being the good guys. That they can never be vulnerable to anyone else. Because vulnerability to them means that they will be abused again. This is usually where narcissism comes from. Is when you were mistreated as a child. And the only way for you to survive, it was a survival mechanism, was to build up this super strong, dominant facade, right? And this is why these people do this. They're actually one of the weakest people they are. They actually need love, but they would never accept it. It's also the toughest thing to treat in psychotherapy because they never see the failure with them, ever. Because they can't. Because if they would see a failure with them, they would go back into the past when they were made, or when they were made the mistake for anything. Many good people, especially also empaths, they do sometimes think of them as narcissists and sociopaths because they can't really socialize with what society is these days. Like, they can't really fit in because everyone is just like with elbows and fucking everyone else over, and you just can't relate to that at all. So you feel like you're a sociopath because you don't fit in. But that's not actually the point. It's not you that is broken, it's society that's broken. That's the key thing. That was also a tough thing for me to realize. It took a while. But this society is just completely over as it is. And everyone is just out for their own gain. And so when you actually are one of the few people who are not just looking for your personal gain, but also to making the world a better place as it is, then you're gonna sometimes think about yourself being the weird one. All of Battle's crimes are forgiven because his prime trailer narration is too good. Alright then. Alright. I force people away from me and don't want anyone on my side because I cannot love others properly. I think, if anything, unless they're friends, but relationships I can never handle, I always fall into doubt. Doubt about what? Because I think, from what I've learned from you so far, it seems more like that you are either afraid or you like of love and being vulnerable because you've been hurt too much, or that you know that you will never get the same love back that you will give, because people just are not like that. Humans are broken by default. We all know theory of love, story like Titanic or Romeo and Juliet, but we fail in putting it into practice. I mean, Titanic is a horror movie, man. Absolute horror movie. All the men die. Just women and children that survive. And also, you know what's kind of crazy to me? The lady that is the main character, I forgot her name, when she's the grandma at the end, right? Just think about it for a second, right? It's the end of her life, and she has a husband and children, lived a great life with those. But the last thing she thinks of before she dies is how a hobo once fucked her on a cruise. And millions of women consider this a great story. And I'm like, what about your husband that did all the things for you for so many lives, all the children? You know? Kind of like a bit weird. If anyone needs proof that society is broken, just point to the Epstein shit. Sure. Exactly. It's been broken for 2 generations. No, it's been broken for 8,000 years. That cult is actually that old. Humans by nature actually are pretty good, very good people, because we know that we can really only survive as a team, or like helping each other, working together. But society is built around the idea that if you fuck people over, then you will come out better. And we believed this for so long. Slowly turning to a therapy stream. I love it. Yeah, it kind of is. I should actually just hit that button, right? thought Titanic was a comedy. I think I missed the plot there. Yeah, it's just a bad movie, honestly. It was also funny, right? The Titanic is obviously, it happened in the real world, right? You know why it sank, right? We learned this recently. It was confirmed. It was a conspiracy theory for so long, but recently it was confirmed. Because the only three powerful men that were against the Rothschild central banking system were on that cruise. And they died that day. And then the Rothschilds could push through their central banking system. Coincidence? Maybe. I even tried to be corrupt, but in the end I'd end up forcing others together, so I'd be able to leave them behind. Safe, not especially from me, but safe to not fail themselves by staying alone. Wait, what? I'd be able to leave. You shouldn't try to be anything other than yourself. You know what's the important thing in life also? And then we're actually gonna move on. That I've realized is the people you meet are an extension of what you believe they are. Because you have to think of your mind as sort of like an aperture for like a camera, right? If you believe that all women are hypergamous bitches controlled by the hive mind and they will fuck you over anyway, then these are exactly the kind of women you will see, because your brain always wants to be affirmation of reality of what it is. Right? So if reality isn't what you think it is, then this is annoying for your brain. So you will exactly look at these kind of women. And for example, you will see these when you scan them and ignore the cute girl in the background that will actually be a good wife. So you have to set up your mindset that there are good women out there, and you will eventually find one that loves you like you love them. Even if it's rare these days, it might be, but there is one out there. And that she will eventually come to you. Because then you will actually see it. They even tested this live with people who thought they were lucky. And it was very funny. There were people who thought they were lucky and people who thought they were very unlucky. And they had them walk down the street, and they specifically placed dollar bills, or like $100 bills, I think, on the ground. And the unlucky people didn't even see it, and the lucky people did. They tested it multiple times. And the reason for this is very simple, that the people who think they are lucky, their brain will actually focus on these things, or like your vision, and you will see that. And the other ones, the brain sort of denies that, even if it would be there, because they think of themselves that it could never happen to them. That was mind-blowing. That was very mind-blowing to me. So how you set up your mind is exactly how your reality will unfold. And I mean this literal.